What up, family? All right, I figured I'd come with a follow up on the previous video that I had put out as far as some of those individuals in the lobby that were acting suspicious. Um, so what I was able to find out is that after watching a couple of other videos from different angles, was kind of able to, I guess you could say, track their movements. And so the individual initially who came out uh, of the rear or who left the lobby following the security guard, the white male with the blue shirt, and he was carrying a shirt. Well, we kind of seen him go down that southwest hallway, and now, which I learned, which I know maybe some other people already knew, but that lets out to the rear parking lot. So watching that video, I was able to see him take that shirt and place it in a car. And that car was located maybe about 7 cars up in that middle row that you can see starts off with a silver car and a white car. But anyway, he placed that in that car, and y'all can check the full video. But the guy I think I got it from, I think his name is Fractal Truth or something. I may have took this screenshot, and I hadn't really talked to him about sharing his video, but it probably shouldn't have been a problem. But I got another little clip I want to show y'all anyway. But that guy, he came back into the lobby without a shirt, and now we know that he put it in his car back here in the back parking lot. Now I wouldn't say it's his car. I'm not really for sure. But it answered the question of where the shirt went. But one thing I noticed, this video surveillance of the rear parking lot, it may go to about 5 in the morning, I believe, or maybe 6. But we know that this individual left out with that group, but with the surveillance that's available of that rear parking lot, he never returned to that car that he placed that shirt in. So I still kind of find that suspicious myself. But after watching the rest of that full video of the parking lot, well, before that, he entered into the building and he passed a young lady that I think a lot of people were saying she was like a look-alike, or the lady that could be possibly playing Kenneka or whatever. But you can see her exiting the building as well. But one thing I did notice, she met an individual white guy, looked like he was carrying a bag. They walked out to the car, and as you can see in the screenshot, that black car is the car that they got into, which is parked maybe 2 cars or 1 car over from where the initial guy in the blue shirt placed that dark color shirt at. But anyway, in case you may happen to see that car pop up on some videos, you know who got in it is that lady there. And also, she was walking down the hallway, but she wasn't carrying anything. But once she got into the parking lot, you can kind of see she's carrying a white bag. Um, but just putting that out there, just trying to be thorough. And then the guy and the lady who left the um, lobby with the cooler. As you can see, that's him right there. And he left out at he was in that back parking lot at 3:21. So, we remember seeing the lobby video of him coming back, I guess, with the female that walked out with him. And neither one of them had that cooler or those bags. But on the rear surveillance video, you can't really tell where he took them to. I don't want to all the way assume, but probably safe to assume that maybe he took them to a car, unless it's another entrance there that he could be doing something nefarious with it. But and you can also see in that full surveillance video him returning, and it was also a guy who left out very early on from the lobby, who took a case off of a carrying case full of luggage. That guy, he ended up, as we could tell from the lobby video, coming back in from a separate entrance. and that guy ended up coming through the same rear entrance. And for some reason, though he left out of the lobby through the front, he chose to enter the hotel through the rear parking lot entrance. So you can see that on the full video of that rear parking lot. And like I said, that goes up to like 5 in the morning. But what I wanted to show is that while the guy in the cooler is walking outside, 4 minutes later, after checking the feeds, we have Kenneka. So and the group of people who were in the lobby, I think they left out at like 3:33 or something like that. So I won't say, I mean, well, I think it, according to these timestamps, and I won't say that they're 100% accurate because I know people manipulate stuff, but according to these timestamps, those individuals in the hotel and Kanika were alive at the same time. So the only suspicious thing that I could see with those individuals were with the one is that, of course, he was shown with the number one suspect walking out of the lobby. And then just the fact that he placed that shirt in a car that he never ended up returning to, at least not for the next couple of hours, and not shown on that video of the rear parking lot. So, I just wanted to show that also, just because I don't want to, come across like somebody who's trying to gain likes and, now I want to be as accurate as possible. So, oh well, that's the guy right there that I had mentioned. Who was carrying the little case, but for some reason chose to re-enter the hotel through the back or rear parking lot entrance. So, I but I would ask, and I kind of wrote down, as you can tell, like just some things to kind of keep me on point, keep us running through it. But well, why was the guy in the blue shirt, in such a rush to where he would go to the front desk and appear like he was asking for someone, but maybe directions, but he made his way without an issue, as you could tell through the video. So I really don't know why he rushed out there to put that shirt in a car that he never returned to. But so that's kind of what I found after just looking at a couple of more hours of tape from different angles. And I think it's pretty much confirmed that she left up out of there or the party around 3 o'clock. So I think that timestamp there is pretty much accurate as far as the reports. But I would just say, everybody is a suspect until we find out, who it, who may have had something to do with that murder, and as I see a cover up. So anyway, let me just address a question that was sent to me, and they asked like, well, what's so important about the thymus gland? Okay, I see it says on the autopsy that the thymus gland was not identified, but why would somebody take the thymus gland? What benefit is that? So I looked up some information, and then what I did was I happened to find a little video that I'm gonna just share with y'all, and then we can kind of touch in on a couple other things, and then we out of here. But all right, check this video out that I happen to find on the thymus gland. All right.
therapies, what is the thymus and what does it do for us? Well, the thymus is a gland that's in the center of our chest. It's just above the heart, and when we're young, it's very big and it's very active. And the older we get, the less active the thymus gland gets. In fact, when we reach our mid-50s, the thymus gland is only about 15% active. And studies show that there's a correlation between the activity of the thymus gland and health and aging. So the thymus plays a very, very important role in many of the systems in our body. For example, the thymus gland programs our immune system. We've all heard of T lymphocytes. Well, the T lymphocytes are called T for thymus. They're thymus lymphocytes. the lymphocytes are produced in our bone marrow, they pass through our bloodstream into the thymus, and then the thymus programs the cells and it decides which kind of cell each cell should be. So our T lymphocytes, for example, are made up of our natural killer cells, of our helper cells, suppressor cells, memory cells, and all of these cells have to be in the right ratios to one another. And this is what the thymus gland does. It programs those cells and controls the ratios. So the immune system can function in a controlled way and can respond to dangers, respond to microorganisms that can be in our system. And it also has that protective function for us. But the thymus doesn't only stop there. I mean, it balances our hormones, so it intervenes with our hormones and helps to establish healthy hormone balance in us, which helps us to feel better, it helps us to perform better. And then, in addition to that, it also balances the levels of neurotransmitters in our system. We know neurotransmitters are extremely important for brain function, for how we feel pain, for how we think, for how we emotionally are balanced, and things like that. So we can see the thymus gland is an extremely important organ. Funnily enough, most of us haven't even heard about it, but it's right here in the center of our chest and really plays a foundational role in our health and aging. The thymus itself secretes hormones into our system. We call these thymic hormones. And one of the things these thymic hormones influence is our biological age. So when we talk about biological age, we can do a blood test and we can measure the levels of the thymic hormones. And through that, we can calculate how old our body is biologically. Because if we remember, the thymus is very active at the beginning of our life, and slowly the activity goes down as we get older. And this is done at a certain pattern. So we can actually calculate how old our body should be based on the activity of the thymus gland. So with thymus therapies, if we restore the thymic function, we actually reverse the biological age. And some studies are indicating that this reversal of biological age can actually be up to about 15 years. So we see again how important the thymic function is in just general health and aging.
Okay, so y'all saw that clip, and I think that showed kind of the importance of the thymus gland, the function of it, and then why somebody would steal the thymus gland. I wanted to punch up an article that I had found, and I just want to share with y'all. And it says British stunned by harvest of organs at a children's hospital. This is in the LA Times. So, all right, this is now this is an example of where local governments, in cahoots with the medical field, will pass legislation in order to commit an illegal act. You know, so now you'll see exactly why I'm saying that. So, okay, it says Donaldson said 100,000 hearts, brains, and lungs and other organs are held by hospitals and medical schools across England. Many of the body parts taken without the knowledge of the dead patients' families. So, all right, we already see the problem right there. So I'm gonna just move forward just to save us some time to keep this rolling. Okay, the article says the fact that the Liverpool hospital was keeping infants' organs emerged in 1999 during an inquiry into the high number of pediatric cardiac deaths at another hospital, the Bristol Royal Infirmary. At the time, Dr. Robert Anderson testified that at least 9 British hospitals had retained more than 8,000 children's hearts for study, with the largest collection at Liverpool. Okay, see now, family, what they'll do is they'll try to slide in that um hearts for study. They'll try to slide that in there so that the regular person that's not really paying too much attention will think, well, all right, they just studying, and then they totally turn a blind eye to anything illegal that they could be doing, really until it happens to one of their loved ones. But okay, so anyway, it says Alder Hay admitted that the thymus glands, typically removed during heart surgery, have been given to Lyons-based Aventis Pasteur for about $7 a sample for the manufacture of a drug a plastic a drug for aplastic anemia, but the hospital insisted that it had not profited from the transaction. Parental consent was not given. Birmingham Children's Hospital subsequently admitted that it had allowed tissue samples to go to an unnamed pharmaceutical company for research, and on Tuesday, London's prestigious Great Ormond Street added that it had done so as well. Great Ormond Street said thymus glands had been passed to researchers at other hospitals without payment since the 1970s. Okay, now watch this. A one-time shipment of 5 thymuses was made to the U.S.-based Upjohn Company in 1993 for anti-rejection transplantation serum, and a payment for processing was made. So, okay, here we go. We see it on a na- uh, international scale where thymus glands are being sold to pharmaceutical companies here in America for anti-rejection transplantation serum. So, y'all see that, and so then I think that shows. I mean, and it's a bunch of other articles I could have showed as far as outrage over scandal. And this kind of touches on the same thing, but they point to how it's tied into Turkey and India. But I just want to share that information. And then one thing that I like to do when I'm kind of looking up a topic, um, or and it's a key word involved, I like to look up the origin of the word. So, in saying that, I just wanted to share what I found um, on the origin or the etymology or entomology. I'm not for sure how that's actually pronounced, but I just chose this link because it gave a pretty thorough description of the origin, but most of them pretty much kind of the same. But so just point out a couple of things within this. It says it is believed that its common name came from the Greek word thymos, which means spirit, soul, or soul, and Plato described thymos as the part of the soul comprising pride, indignation, shame, and the need for recognition. And the root word, I guess it's a root word. Theo, I don't know it in Greek, but Theo means smoke, and Thisia means sacrifice. All right, I'm gonna come back to that. But it says, for ancient Greeks, it is considered that thymus is the seat of the soul, and by Galen was referred as the organ of mystery. So, a couple things I noticed in this is one, just to say initially, when the Greek are mentioned as the origin or the origin is found with some Greeks, just know history pretty much contradicts that because everything the Greeks learned, they learned from Africans in Egypt and throughout Africa, really. But in making that point, when you see these root words, theo, smoke, and thesia, sacrifice, in ancient Egypt, they were fully aware of the thymus, and they also had a plant that they named the thyme. The thyme, I think it's spelled THM, is how they spelled it. But they used that plant in the embalming process while doing mummification. So they was aware of it. They was aware of the thymus gland. I think, as you can see, Plato, he describes it as part of the soul. And so a lot of times you can see pictures of chakras, and you can see that heart chakra is located where this thymus is. And some people believe not only that if you rejuvenate the thymus, you can reverse age, but they believe that the thymus is where the soul or the spirit of an individual resides. So, you know, and then you've seen in that etymology with that word sacrifice. A lot of times people, that's kind of smart but slick with it. They'll turn around and be like, see, it say sacrifice, and her thymus was missing, and she was sacrificed, and they'll play little word games, but I really won't, go off all the way into that. But I wanted to keep this brief. And then the question that I kind of thought to myself is what would be the reasons why a person's thymus gland would not be identified, like it states in the coroner report? So, a couple of reasons that I ended up finding is first, let me see, one is called the Dijord syndrome. So, this syndrome, also called the deletion syndrome. And you see they get these little numbers here, 22QL.2. That's a designation for a part in the DNA that's not there or it's been deleted, I guess. But in not having that portion of the DNA, you will sometimes the symptoms of that one of the symptoms of not having that portion of the DNA is being born without a thymus gland. So that was one reason, but it's treatable. But and then funny the way they go about treating that is that they use the tissue from discarded, as they say, thymus glands, and they lay that tissue on a child's thigh muscle, or whenever, however the child is. I don't know exactly up to what age they do this process, but the hormones that's produced by that thymus tissue is absorbed into the thigh, and then it ends up pretty much rebuilding the immune system or strengthening the immune system. I think really rebuilding it, because if it's any portion of the person's immune system in place, and it'll reject it, from what I kind of, I don't know, just bumped into, but I ain't really big out on medicine. But that was one reason, was the DeJour syndrome. It's named after the individual who, I guess, discovered it, but it's also called the deletion syndrome. And then the other reason why it might not be found was if it was removed, and that is called a thymectomy. So, and that's done legally, it's done to, I believe, to alleviate some of the symptoms that come from MD, I believe it's called, which stands for myasthenia gravis, which I believe is Latin or something for grave muscular weakness. So if somebody is suffering with MD, they advise to remove the thymectomy. So, and that is supposedly, the thought behind that is whatever antibodies is being produced to cause this person this grave muscular illness, then let's remove the source of that, and then we'll see some type of improvement. I mean, I don't know, but that's what the information I found out as far as thymectomy and the reason for it. But so just as far as just recapping real quick, not to keep y'all, the importance of the thymus gland, like the video clip showed, it programs the immune system, it balances the hormones, balances neurotransmitters, and produces a hormone that influences biological age. So, I found that kind of interesting as well as informative, having to do with the thymus gland. And just connecting this family to the case, what information is coming out daily, having to do with the Kenneka Jenkins murder and cover up. And I believe the name of the channel on YouTube is Aboriginal Media or something to that effect. It's ran by Dr. Ali Muhammad, but he had posted information from Cook County's website showing pretty much that they have it in legislation or written down to where he has the permission to remove any organ that's in the body of the individual who's laying there, and he can do whatever he want to do with it. So I just decided to take a screenshot of that and just show exactly what he showed in his video, but it was it wasn't too clear, so I just wanted to put this up there so people could actually see it. But the section is 38.119, death subject to investigation, establishing manner and cause of death. And then you can kind of catch some of the background as far as why there is a medical examiner and not a coroner, kind of from his video. But anyway, I just tried to put a little box around the main point of this. It says let me start just a sentence above that box. It says the medical examiner shall obtain specimens necessary to determine the cause and manner of death and retain them in accordance with nationally established practice guidelines for forensic pathology. Now it says, now this is where it's at. The medical examiner shall have the authority to retain tissue specimen necessary to determine the cause and manner of death without notification or family permission, and will have the authority to retain such body parts as the medical examiner deems necessary in the public interest with notification to any identified next of kin. So, right there, y'all can kind of see like they got this set up. And so, being in America, a capitalistic society, we realize like how much money plays into this as well as race. So, I just wanted to share that so y'all could get a clear look at that. That's on the website of the Cook County Medical Examiner. So, you know, that's what they pulling off. While a lot of us is distracted with antics by Trump and you know what's on or what's the next quote unquote reality television show. So, but that's just what I kind of came up with having to do with the Thymus Gland. What I found as far as those suspects or those that were looking suspicious in the lobby. And only thing I would add is hopefully as the days continue on, more evidence will end up getting put out there, and you'll see that this is a murder and a cover up. And so, but that's pretty much all I got, family. That's information on the thymus gland. Um, but hopefully, I found it informative, and I'll be working on the next video. All right, peace.